ओके हो चुका लाइव काउंटडाउन स्टार्टिंग
या
यस अभी व्यूअर्स थोड़े आने चालू हो जाते हैं
ओके
तो हम स्टार्ट करते हैं
अच्छा अनिल साहब आपका फेस थोड़ा दिख नहीं रहा है मोबाइल में या सर
ओके
बेटर बेटर
या
अभी
अब
बेटर
दिख
है
ओके
रहा है हाँ
या
सर
इट्स
दिख
बेटर
रहा
इट्स बेटर या
ठीक
है
ओके ओके
ओके
ओके वी हैव अराउंड 10 व्यूअर्स राइट नाउ
ओके we can wait at least 2-3 minutes
या श्योर we will start the whole national webinar startup talk in around 2 minutes. We have 7 viewers right now. Okay, all the panelists, can you see the comments in the right side screen? It says comments.
yeah
Okay,
yeah
okay. Okay, so shall we start?
yeah how many
We have
persons
12 viewers right now. 12.
okay
Or should we wait for more people to come?
yeah
Okay. Okay, we have 16 viewers right now. Let's
okay
get to around 20 and then we shall start.
yeah
Okay, so we have around 20 now.
पार्ट द बैकग्राउंड कहाँ से आता आवाज?
नहीं नहीं, it's fine, it's fine.
हाँ, आवाज कहाँ से? हाँ, थोड़ा
Where?
जस्ट 2-3 फाइनल स्ट्रोक भेज रहा हूँ मैं.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. We are waiting on Mr. Monik, right?
या
उनका शायद
मोनिक भाई.
डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया है. हाँ.
मोनिक भाई. हाँ,
डिस्कनेक्ट हुआ.
हम्म.
मोनिक भाई को लगा.
अच्छा, वो आ गए हैं.
आ गया.
हाँ, ओके ओके.
हाँ.
હા, મોનિક ભાઈ ડિસ્કનેક્ટ થઈ ગયા.
નેટ એકદમ જ પ્રોબ્લેમ થઈ ગયો.
હા, એટલે જોઈ બોલો કનેક્શન ચાલુ રાખજો સાથે.
म्यूट ना हो.
હા.
ઓકે.
Okay,
So
so
I
shall we
think
start?
shall we start? I think. Yeah.
या.
Okay, okay. Well, welcome everybody to our national webinar startup talk called StartAb, एक कदम आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर, organized by IIEFA, Vigyan Gurjari, IIM Baroda, Yuva Kaushal Bharat Foundation, and Madad Foundation. So today is our first webinar, and we hope to inform you guys with the best knowledge that you can get from our panelists. Today's topic uh, is around startup policies in higher educational institutes. So before we start off, I'd like to introduce the panel, and then we can continue further with the webinar. So I'd explain, I'd introduce myself first. I am Parth. I'm a young entrepreneur actually from Delhi. Very proud to be a part of this whole webinar series, and I'm passionate about blockchain, AI, skill building in young students, and I basically work around empowering people and empowering entrepreneurs. Next, we have our webinar director, Dr. Sunil Kahara. He's the chairman of IIM Baroda chapter and Yuva Kaushal Bharat Foundation. Next, our webinar patron, we have Sri Vidyadhar. He is the state president of Vigyan Gurjari, assistant professor, Department of Agriculture Meteorology, BACA, AAU Anand, and technical expert. Next, we have our chief guest, Mr. Anil Pratham. He's the additional general director general of police in Gujarat and IPS, Government of India. Next, we have our speaker, a very smart speaker indeed, Mr. Deepan Kumar Sahu. He's the Assistant Innovation Director, National Coordinator, IIC, ARIIA, NISP, and Ministry of HRD's Innovation Cell. Last but not the least, we have Dr. Monik Jain. He is the member of Vigyan Gujari and the MS University of Baroda. I'd also like to thank the moderators, the coordinators, Karan and Keyur Pandya, for helping with all the arrangements and keeping the show alive. So now I'd like to request Dr. Sunil to continue and to proceed further with the webinar. I hope you guys will love it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Parth. It is what's a warm welcome for us.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's given a great pleasure to welcome you all for a very important topic of today's event, national webinar, StartAb. It is Startup Talk on एक कदम आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर. The events is jointly organized by Institute Industry Innovations, Entrepreneurship Facilitator and Academia, IIEFA, Unit of Vigyan Gurjari, Yuva Kaushal Bharat Foundation, Indian Institute of Metal Baroda Chapter, and Mother Foundation. I'm heartily welcome today's chief guest, Sri Anil Prathamji, Additional Director General of Police of Gujarat, Indian Police Service, IPS, Government of India. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I'm heartily welcome our invited speaker, young and dynamic, energetic, Mr. Deepan Kumar Sahu. He is the Assistant Innovation Director of MHRD Innovation Cell, AICT, Government of India, who is going to deliver a talk on national innovation and startup policy for higher education institutions. Welcome you, sir. I'm heartily welcome our patron, our guide, our motivator, Sri Vidyajarji Vedya, who is the State President of Vigyan Gurjari. With his blessing, we are organizing this event. Welcome you, sir. I heartily welcome our teammates, my good friends of my minds. Whenever I got any opportunity, I'd ask Monik Bhai at any time. Dr. Monik Jani is a State General Secretary of Vigyan Gurjari, and he is a principal of Neotech Engineering College and coordinator of SSIP, uh, Dahood Engineering College, Guru Gobind Singh University. Welcome, Dr. Monik Jani. I'm heartily welcome off the screen, Mr. Rajesh Kashyap. He is the force behind us to channelize all these speakers and guests. He is the president of Mother Foundation and driving force for us. Off the screen, I welcome Rajeshji. I wish to take this opportunity to welcome all the participants from various academic institutions, industry, who are entrepreneurs, and students from various cities and states of India. At outset, this August gathering, I welcome all the executive committee members of Vignan Gurjari, IIM Baroda chapter, Yuva Koshal Bharat Foundation, and Madad Foundation. Before we proceed, I just brief about the two organizations. First, IIM. Generally, whenever the name is come IIM, we thinking about Indian Institute of Management, but it is not management; it is metals. Indian Institute of Metal was instituted in 1946 and head office at Kolkata. The IIM is the organization of proud past and exciting future. Is being the largest organization of most prestigious scientists, engineers, and technologists academicians. Two of the more objective for IIM is promoting and advancing science and technology of metals and alloy in protecting the interests of metallurgists and metallurgical industries. IIM has more than 8,000 members all over India from different part of countries. It has more than 55 chapters, and IIM Baroda chapter is one of the oldest chapter of this unit. It has instituted in 1971 in the premises of the Metallurgical and Materials Engineering Department, the MS University of Baroda. Second association, that is Yuva Koshal Bharat Foundation. It has started this year in January 2020. It is an association of youth, entrepreneur, social worker, and industrialists who are working for various noble causes and try to act as a bridge between the governments and public. We want various activities we are doing. Last, this is our third events. Last two events we have did one webinar in the situation of COVID-19 pandemic situation, where we did one webinar on job opportunity and challenges for young student in the face of COVID-19 in the 15th of 19th of May 2020, and 3rd of June we did second webinar, that is on challenges and opportunity for business growth for exclusively for business community, when more than 450 participants for business and entrepreneur was joined. So this foundation is jointly doing a lot of activities, and we are also committed to try to develop the startup and ecosystem in the Gujarat state. Plus, we are organizing various social activities like blood donation camp, uh, boot camps, and various type of activities. Third association, that is Madad Foundation. Madad Foundation was found in the year of 2019. It is a young social entrepreneur who are further brought a group together to continue toward betterment of society with a focus on child education, holistic child development, and women empowerment. Mother Foundation doing a lot of activity like trekking camps, boot camps for various area of the society, particularly disaster management, skill developments for young students who want to have skill up as far as our mission, the Startup India and Skill India is concerned. As far as the today event is concerned, we know the India we are in the phase of the higher educations, where India is one of the most largest sector for huge young entrepreneur as well as educators. In the last 10 years, in the India higher education system, it is growth very well at the rate of 79%, and lot of more than 41,000 students they are enter in the higher education system, particularly for this startup and entrepreneurship. As far as our prime minister goal is there, we want to become a 5 trillion GDP economy in the up to the year of 2024. Now it is a very huge task, and to help our honorable prime minister, we all have to work hard to join and encourage young entrepreneur, young student, educator, scientists, and faculty member to have more job provider not a job seeker. A lot of research and innovation is going on, various industries, research institute, but that should be a bridge between industry, academia, and we want such type of bridge which help us to implement the all policy which is to be governed by central government and state government. So a lot of things has to be there. We want to develop this startup ecosystem in the Gujarat fraternity, and for this we are continuously working in this direction, and we are committed to organize various events. So as a part of this thing, all these four associations come together, join us to organize this event. So let us welcome you all, and I conclude my speak, and I hand over Mr. Parth. Now, before we proceed for further thing, uh, let me introduce our webinar patron, uh, Sri Vidyadharji Vedya. Sri Vidyadharji Vedya is a state president of Vignan Gurjari. He is assistant professor in Department of Agriculture Meteorology, BSCA AAU, Anand. Recently has been appointed as a technical expert in Indian Knowledge System, AICT, Government of India, and today just now he has become a National Council member or Vignan Bharati. So I must congratulate Vidyadharji, and I request you so kindly enlighten us about Vignan Gurjari and Vignan Bharati.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil. My voice is coming?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So, great good evening to all. My colleague, Dr. Monik, today's chief guest, Shri Anil Prathamji, then main chief speaker, Dipan Sahuji, and team of this new IAM, that is IAFA, and also my colleague from the Vignan Gurjari family. On behalf of Vignan Bharati, as you heard about just today, I have been appointed as a governing council member of Vignan Bharati. So on behalf of Vignan Bharati also, I welcome you all. And on behalf of Vignan Gurjari, which is a state unit of Vignan Bharati in Gujarat, Vignan Bharati is a nationalistic science movement of Bharat, which was established on 21st and 22nd October 1992 near Nagpur. Initially, the movement was started in Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru, under the leadership of Professor K.I. Vasu, who was a metallurgist working in the IISc. And he started this movement because when he went to US and he heard that there is no contribution of Indians in the field of metallurgy. I know Dr. Sunil is from that field. So he felt bad and he decided that he should search for the literature for metallurgy and what is India's contribution. And from that moment, the idea come to his mind that if this is the state that our Indian contribution to science is not properly documented, not properly understood, or not properly propagated in the world, so we should start this. Indian Institute of Science from US. So what happened that he gathered his fellow colleagues from the Indian Institute of Science and he started a movement known as Swadeshi Science Movement. And after 7-8 years, so fellow colleagues expanded, and in the year 1992, nearly 120 scientists from 20 states of Bharat came together near Nagpur. They have a Vichar Manthan for 2 days, and Vignan Bharati was established as a Swadeshi Science Movement of Bharat. So after that, recently the organization is expanded. In the year 2009, I joined as a organizing secretary of Gujarat State. Also in the same year, we registered it as a Vigyan Gurjari. So it is a Gujarat state unit of Vigyan Bharati at Anand, and धीरे धीरे इस संगठन का व्याप बढ़ता गया और आज हमारे 520 लाइफ मेंबर है, 7 इंस्टीट्यूशनल मेंबर है, प्लस 54 ऑनलाइन मेंबर्स है। आज ही हमारी एनुअल जनरल बॉडी मीटिंग थी, उसके लिए विज्ञान गुर्जरी का वृत्त भी हमने रखा। पूरे विज्ञान भारती का जो स्प्रेड है वो लगभग 36 स्टेट यूनिट्स है, हमारे प्रांत यूनिट हम इसको कहते हैं। तो उस 36 में से 33 यूनिट अलग से रजिस्टर हुए, जैसे विज्ञान गुर्जरी गुजरात में हुए। और पूरे देश में आज के एजीएम में जो हमें आंकड़ा मिला, जिनका रिपोर्टिंग हुआ है ऐसे लगभग 13,000 लाइफ मेंबर्स है, और जिनका रिपोर्टिंग बाकी है उसका अंदाज लिया जाए तो लगभग 16,000 वैज्ञानिक, साइंटिस्ट एंड टेक्नोक्रेट्स आर द मेंबर्स ऑफ दिस ग्रेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। इसके लगभग 17 से 18 आयाम है, उसमें का ही एक आयाम जो अभी हमारे मित्र सुनील कहार जी लीड कर रहे हैं, आईफा करके, इंडस्ट्रीज इनोवेशन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम। विज्ञान भारती का ये ध्येय है कि अपना देश अपने जो विज्ञान का कंट्रीब्यूशन है उसमें गौरव महसूस करे। इसलिए विद्यार्थियों के लिए विद्यार्थी विज्ञान मंथन है, वैदिक साइंसेस के लिए वैदिक विज्ञान कॉन्फ्रेंस है, इंडियन साइंस कांग्रेस का भी एक रीजनल एक्सटेंशन कहेंगे, या भारतीय भाषाओं में विज्ञान की प्रस्तुति के लिए भारतीय विज्ञान सम्मेलन है, साइंस इंडिया नाम का मैगजीन है इंग्लिश और हिंदी में। इस तरह से अलग अलग आयुर्वेद के क्षेत्र में हमारा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है वर्ल्ड आयुर्वेद फाउंडेशन, जो हर 2 वर्ष आयुर्वेद में इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस करता है, जो पूरी विश्व की आयुर्वेद में सबसे बड़ी कॉन्फ्रेंस और प्रेस्टिजियस मानी जाती है। लास्ट ईयर हमने अहमदाबाद में इस कॉन्फ्रेंस को आयोजित किया था, तो उसमें विज्ञान गुर्जरी का भी बड़ा रोल रहा। उसमें 35 देशों से लगभग 5,000 डेलीगेट्स रजिस्ट्रेशन होकर आए थे। तो एक वर्ल्ड आयुर्वेद कांग्रेस और नस्या एक है, नेशनल आयुर्वेदिक स्टूडेंट्स एंड यूथ एसोसिएशन, ये भी उसमें है। तो हम आज के सेमिनार की थीम की बात करेंगे, उसमें विद्वान वक्ताओं का वक्तव्य हम सुनने वाले हैं, लेकिन मैं एक ही बात कहूंगा कि आत्मनिर्भरता, आत्मसम्मान और आत्मगौरव, ये तीनों चीजें एक में से जुड़ी है। ये तीनों चीजें साथ में होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि उसमें स्व का जो है वो भाव जागृत होना चाहिए। हर फील्ड में यदि स्व का जागृत नहीं हुआ तो जो भी हम कर रहे हैं उसका कोई अर्थ नहीं रहेगा। इसलिए प्रधानमंत्री जी हो या अपने देश की जो ग्रेट लीडरशिप है, उनका कहना है कि अपना भारत आत्मनिर्भर होना चाहिए। आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लिए आत्मविश्वास की जरूरत है, और आत्मविश्वास जो है वो पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स ने अपने वैज्ञानिकों के ऊपर रखा। तो इसरो का बहुत ज्वलंत उदाहरण है कि मंगल मिशन हमने सक्सेसफुल पहले ही अटेम्प्ट में कर दिया, जो पूरे विश्व को असंभव था, वो भी बहुत कम खर्चे में हमने कर दिया। उसी तरह से एक ग्रेट अचीवमेंट हमने की कि एंटी सैटेलाइट मिसाइल, जो सैटेलाइट को नष्ट कर सकता है पृथ्वी के वातावरण में जो घूमता है ऑर्बिट में, तो वो भी टेक्नोलॉजी प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा था। तो वैज्ञानिकों ने उनको कहा, प्रधानमंत्री को, कि हम कम से कम 3 साल लगेंगे। उन्होंने टारगेट दिया, नहीं हमें नेक्स्ट ईयर ही इसको पूरा करना है। तो 3 साल का काम 1 साल में पूरा किया गया और डीआरडीओ के द्वारा वो पूरा हुआ। तो आत्मनिर्भरता के लिए आत्मविश्वास की आवश्यकता है। तो मेरे ख्याल से आत्मविश्वास की ओर हम जरूर जाएंगे और यंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को हम तैयार करेंगे, विद्यार्थियों में भी आत्मविश्वास भरेंगे, तो आत्मगौरव रहा तो आत्मविश्वास आएगा, ऐसा मुझे लगता है। तो मेरे ख्याल से इतना मेरा वक्तव्य पूरा रहेगा, और फिर से सभी पैनलिस्ट और मेरे विज्ञान गुर्जरी के साथियों और बाकी सब विद्यार्थी मित्रों को मैं बहुत बहुत आभार प्रकट करता हूं कि मुझे उन्होंने आज बधाई दी है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय जय गरवी गुजरात। धन्यवाद।
Hello, am I audible? Hello. Yeah. Thank you very
Yeah,
much,
you are.
Vidyadevi, for enlightening us about the Vignan Gurjari and Vignan Bharati. Now it's my privilege to introduce our chief guest of today's event, Sri Anil Prathamji. He is a presently Additional Director General of Police, Government of India. Anilji is the IPS in the year batch of 1989. He has completed his graduations from BCom, MCom, LLB, and LLM in reputed universities. He has joined this IPS. Before this, he was joined various organizations. He was the officer of training in Hindustan Petroleum Corporations. He was a state officer, unit trust in India. He is the assistant administrative officer in LIC of India. He has worked for Indian Police Service in various cadre, like he was ASP in Kutch, Bhuj, SP in Kutch, Bhuj, Banaskantha, Panchmal, Bhavnagar, Mehsana. He was Deputy Commissioner of Police, Traffic, Ahmedabad City and Vadodara City itself. He was SP in CID, Intelligence CID Crime. He is SP in Gram Raksha Dal. He is commanded CIF Baroda, SCCL Andhra Pradesh. He was DIGP, Economic Officer Wing, CID Crime Branch, Gandhinagar. He was DIGP and IGP and Principal Police Training Center, Junagadh. He was Inspector General of Police for Women's Health, Additional Director General of CID Crime Branch, Gujarat, just now. Apart from his duties, he is also associated with various social work and various public welfare activities. Now in Baroda, a very well-known place, Sankal Bhumi Trust, it was instituted. Uh, you will all know the Sankal Bhumi Trust was situated in Baroda. We all know Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. He was joined these administrative positions in the Maharaja Sajirao Gaikwad, and he in the year of 1917. But as we know, at that time, there are a lot of the evil caste practices, a lot of difficulty was arises. He has struggled a lot, and in the area of Kamati Bagh, he has took one sankalp, and that was on to remember his sankalp. The Sankal Bhumi Trust was formed in the year of 2006, and sir is actively participating and doing a lot of activities for this Sankal Bhumi Trust in Baroda itself. He is also the member of one of the prestigious organization, Hindustan Scout and Guide Association. It is a very well-known, non-political, non-profit making organizations who are creating for humanity, service to nation, and respect to all religions and God. He is also work of Sangha Karya Foundations. Sangha Karya Foundation is a non-profit making organization and many more. He is a achiever founder of socio-economic empowerment. It is a foundation strive to work for education, justice, equality, dignity, and economic empowerment. With this, I request our chief guest, Sri Anil Pathamji, so kindly enlighten us about it speak on Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Anilji.
Thank you very much for my introduction to the members. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers, all IAM Baroda chapter, Gurjari, Vigyan Gurjari, then Yuva Koshal Bharat Foundation and Madad Foundation. As I have heard Honorable Vidyadhar Vaidyaji, I feel misfit into today's webinar, but still I feel myself relevant because the target group is the same for this webinar and for our police working and our social activity in which I am associated. As you know, we are now talking of the startup. Startup means the young, new ideas, and which are generally connected mostly from youth, because as Prime Minister has said that we are going for Atmanirbhar policy in India. The all detailed components of this scheme is already known in the press and the public. But what I should say that आत्मनिर्भर बनने के लिए they need guidance, they need mentorship, and they need techno technical knowledge. As I have seen the Vigyan Bharati, they are they have the expertise into this area. So I am sure that this webinar will be a very useful to all the participants who want to start their startup project, startup businesses. As I have said earlier, for this we need youth with the commitment, with the financial facilities, and this, as I have one of the partner is Yuva Koshal Foundation, so they will help this thing. At this stage, I would like to say that unless our education system, which has been now recently announced, a new education policy has come, and as earlier in our case, the more intelligent, more the students who got more marks will join the science stream. The lesser person will go to say commerce, and then lesser will go to art. So that was the thing. But that was the general uh, thing based on our academic performance or the mark sheet we got at that time. But now, with new things coming out and with the new invention and experiment of the great businessmen who have done real achievement in their field of the business without holding the formal degrees, without holding the formal higher managerial education, by sheer their innovation, by sheer new ideas, by sheer enterprising abilities, they have been able to achieve what I think this webinar is trying to achieve through their talks. So, in this background, I will request all the participants that the first self independency or Atmanirbhar policy was introduced by our constitution, by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, which you mentioned at Sankal Bhumi in Baroda. This was the first, I feel, the Atmanirbhar for the youth. Because whenever we uh, whenever we talk of the businesses, so business means it needs lot of manpower, and manpower comes from the all strata of the life or democratic area of the country.
Yes.
So if the a person who is living in a village, so he has to make a enterprising a decision, a risk to come from a small village to some bigger city. So that is the first step of Atmanirbhar. Then, if he comes here, the atmosphere of working condition, the working labor conditions, that should be respectable, that should be favorable, that should be uh, equitable. So all those principles are used. So going from those things, we have heard many times our honorable prime ministers. He spoke very well of the constitutions. He has spoke many qualities of Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar regarding how to get empowerment of all who are not able to achieve in their life. Maybe they are women, maybe they are senior citizens, maybe women in some society or some religion, they are not getting so empowered. So when we say of innovations, when we say of new ideas, it includes all women, children, even retired officers, retired personnel. We have seen from army, from the armed forces, people retire at young age. They don't retire at 60 or 58. They are retired after certain number of years of service. So even they can be used in this Atmanirbhar and self business thing. So with these words, my idea, I will not go into the details of what are required, which in which field we can add startups like naming from MSME. We have the MSME, so many schemes of the MSME. We have non-banking finance company. We have real estate. We have power sectors. We have agricultural marketing reforms, so many defense, aviation, power, mineral, so many things are there in where we can really work hard. You know, the any business has linkage, backward linkage, forward linkage. So all these small items are required. Even in that thing, our young entrepreneur, say the students who is say 10th pass, say who is 12th passed, say who is just simple graduate. So depending on their education, depending on the requirements, some technical IIT, ITI, some other skill trade. So that can be utilized depending on the sectors where you want to do this. We have seen that even in Gujarat, that अमूल आनंद आनंद के अंदर जो अमूल कोऑपरेशन सेक्टर है मिल्क का, ये हाउ द कोऑपरेटिव मूवमेंट केम आउट ऑफ दिस, हाउ द विलेजर्स women got empowered, they got economically empowered by this initiative. You know, I am holding the charge of the women cell. I deal with the women, I deal with the children, I deal with the senior citizen. When we deal with such vulnerable section of the society, you know, all participants and all esteemed panelists are the empowered youth, empowered men. You are not so so vulnerable, but many women and people who are vulnerable, so they need special help. We have come to know during our policing that many people have been wrongly convicted, many people have been wrongly arrested, many people have unintentionally entered into crime area. So police also try to rescue them, police also try to rehabilitate them, police also try to prevent them into falling into the trap of, say, human trafficking, say child labor, say begging rackets, say narcotic things. So we not only prevent youth to from falling into the crime, but we also try to reform those who have committed some crime. So these are the target group which startup can help, which your webinar can help. The ideas of the esteemed panelists, they can target these group also, not only the fresh graduate or fresh youth, but such category of people. You know, in Gujarat we have the this nashabandi. You can't have liquor in Gujarat, but still it's going on illegally. Many we have found many women and many men indulging in the sale of illicit liquor. We try to set them. We try to set them through. We have uh, shelter homes. We have economic uh, uh, help to them. So how they can be utilized through the various schemes of the this startup, so that you can think of and provide the idea. Also, nowadays you must be knowing that economic crime and cyber crime are more prevalent. Economic crime, when we study, we found that there are businessmen who are genuine, but they are businessmen who complete who complete with the intention of frauding the general public. So we should utilize all the available target group. I think with these ideas, I will request the panelists to take some cue from my speech, and if they can be helpful to the general public, I shall be thankful. Thank you very much for giving me the time, though I am not suited into this premise, this panel, but I try to give whatever I could from my policing background, few inputs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It is an inspirational speech. For as even though you are working day and night, we know how the difficult job for you, particularly this COVID pandemic situation, and still you have been work for a lot of this social initiative, and we want such type of boost because we all young work are working for such area. So definitely it will boost. Thank you very much, sir, for joining and being your to be here as chief guest and addressing this gathering. Now we are move on to very awaiting speech of our today's speaker. Let me introduce him. It's one of the very well-known young and dynamic speaker we had with us, Sri Deepan Sahuji. Deepan Sahuji, he is a development professional with more than 10 years in experience and has expertise in policy design and implementation in the area of innovation and startup ecosystem development, particularly in the higher educational institution. He is all the undergraduate degree from fishery science from Venkatavara Veterinary University. He was had his first master degree in MBA in rural management from KIIT University. He has earned his second degree in development policy from various prestigious Korea Development Institute KDI from South Korea government policy in a think tank. He is currently serving as a capacity of assistant director in the innovation cell, Ministry of HRD, All Indian Council for Technical Education, Government of India. Sri Sahuji is also associated in AICT since 2017. He is a core member of implementing team of National Innovation and Startup Policy for higher education institutions. He play a lead role in design and implementation of number of other national policies initiative such as utter ranking of institution on innovation achievement institutions, Innovation Council IIC, and MBA in Innovation, Entrepreneurship, Venture Development, and International Accreditation Program for early stage startup. He managed portfolio of various programs which are being implemented under the AICT startup policy in the academic institution at AICT. With this brief introduction, I request Deepan Sahu sir so kindly enlighten us about today's speak on National Innovation Startup Policy for Higher Education Institution. Deepan sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil ji. It's very good evening to all. Thank you, Dr. Vidyadhar ji, for giving me this opportunity, and also the other members, and also to Sri Anil Pratham ji for giving this inspirational note. And let me, because I think it is already 7:52, so I hope I
Yeah,
will get at
definitely,
least
sir.
30 minutes time
You
to
can
talk.
take, sir. No issue.
At least. Okay, so let me start with the title itself, because title says that startup and ek kadam atmanirbharata. So that means it is very very suitable to today's context. And I believe in the last 3 to 4 months, since the day our honorable prime minister has declared or has called the campaign Atmanirbhar Bharat, since then numerous number of programs on this topic already been conducted by so many institutes and so many organizations. But I believe as many as number you conduct, still it is less for our country, and that's why still this topic has this kind of importance in today's context. And as Dr. Sunil ji said that Atmanirbhar, and Dr. Vaidya ji said that startup, and Sri Anil Pratham ji said that he is from IPS and police, and he feels that he is not suitable to this topic. But I will say it is very relevant, because police and policy both are only last is only change. So it is Y, it is E. So the common essence of police and policy is that maintain the discipline, bringing the discipline in the society. So policy is a document through which we are trying to bring some discipline into the society, where police is the system which trying to maintain the law and order in our society, to create lots of impact from that policy. So there is a very good combination of police and policy. So I think, and that kind of topics, the kind of thrust areas, the kind of problematic areas you have identified, it's very very suitable. And because for a startups, the initiation point for a startup should be a problem statement. And I think you have given a problem statement free to our youth to work on. So actually that is actually where the should be the starting point for startup. And as you have the problem, and the whole country's youth are for solving that problem, and currently Smart India Hackathon is also going on, where we are trying to solve the problems of industry and the government. So I think you are completely suitable for today's topic. So with this note, let me start my today's session. And in today's session I'm trying to combine two things. One is startup and another is Atmanirbhar. So I'm trying to combine these two things, because sometimes we interpret in wrong way what is Atmanirbhar says, because there is no standard definition of Atmanirbhar. That's why everybody is trying to devise or develop a definition and the understanding on their own way. And I think it's nothing wrong on it. But the thing is that, are you going to still having that common goal or common essence when you are explaining that Atmanirbhar? If yes, then we are right. But if you are trying to change the definition, or trying to change the concept of Atmanirbhar as just to suit our requirement, then I think that is not the Atmanirbhar what I'm going to explain today. And let me share my presentation. Let me share my screen so that you will see the presentation. Is it visible? Is
Yes, yes, it's
Okay,
visible.
so
Yeah.
I'm not going to take much time on explaining about me, who am I, and I think it's irrelevant and also not required. so let me go to my first things. So as I said that I'm going to explain about Atmanirbhar and startup. So as Vaidya sir said that startup is need of hour, so I will say startup is required, but startup is already within us. So what is required is that how to identify, how to discover that startup within you. So startup of you, that means if everybody will become a startup, or everybody will start behaving like a startup, like an entrepreneur or like an enterprise, then I believe if we have more than 130 crores, like 1.3 billion people, so if at least 50 to 60% of total population will start behaving like a startup and they will start behaving like entrepreneur, then I think there will be no unemployment issue, there will be no poverty, there will be no illiteracy, and I believe we can able to solve more than 80% of the problems what our country is going through. So the first and foremost important is that how to discover that startup is with you or not, and how to connect that startup with you with Atmanirbhar. That's we are going to discuss in first 10 to 15 minutes. Then I will come down to my next session, the next topic on national innovation and startup policy for students and faculties, which is just way forward of this Atmanirbhar and startup of you. So before I start explaining what is Atmanirbhar in a very layman language, I will request please help me to identify yourself by asking one single question, that who am I? If your answer is at least any one of these 7 options that I mentioned here, then I think you are in the right track. If your answer is that you are a change maker or a change agent, you are always trying to bring constructive changes in the society. If you will see, if your answer is that you are an innovator, if your answer is that you are an entrepreneur or a job creator, if your answer is that still if you are in the job but still you are behaving like an entrepreneur, what we call it is entrepreneur. And if you will see that if still you are a job seeker, and I will say I will not discourage that you are not in the right, you are not appropriate, but you are in the direction, but you need small kind of guidance. And if your answer is that you are not above all these 5, but you are a good human being, also it's a good thing. And the 7th one is that if you have not decided and don't know who am I, then I think you are also in the very right direction, that at least you can start today onwards. So if your answer is at least any one of these 7 options, then I think you are in the right direction. And think about it, and just have your answer with you. And once my session is over, then you just revisit your answer and try to verify that how extent you are fulfilling this answer. So let me go through the next one. So if anybody want to understand what is Atmanirbhar means, so let's understand in very simple way. Ask yourself, just to think that if you are a faculty, maybe you have gone through the phase of studentship 20 years back, and if you have spent your studentship as a hosteler, and if you stayed in any hostel, or if you have not spend your time during studentship in hostel, then maybe your daughter or son might be they are staying in hostel. So just feel that how you have managed your life in hostel when you are in hostel, or your son and daughter are staying in hostel. So see, when a student just after completing the 10th and 12th standard, when they join a undergraduate or postgraduate in any one of the higher education, and they start living or they just start staying in hostel, it is a kind of very difficult situation for everybody. The first 3 months, it is kind of a horrible situation for everybody. And during those 3 months, many of, I think more than 98% of the students, they cope up and they come up with a strategy how to manage the dynamics. They have to manage the budget, because from house they got certain limited budget amount, and because most of these students have come from the middle income family. and also they have to manage with the budget, they have to manage with the food, they have to manage with the facilities what they will get in that hostel. Also they have to manage with the senior, they have to manage with the faculty, and also they have to cope up with the peers to become a better student or better performer, and also they have to do some certain kind of extracurricular activities. And besides that, they have to also do something to every day, like managing their room activities, like having a proper cloth, then books and all kind of things. So they have to purchase also their daily consumption items. So see that a person at the age of 18, when exposed to a system of hostel which is completely new to him, and see that what kind of number of dynamic factors are playing, and he is coming up with a very much enduring strategy in a very short time of 3 to 4 months. So it is actually the same way the Atmanirbhar works. So the Atmanirbhar is that how we are going to manage this kind of such dynamics and complex issues, and developing the skill set and the mindset, and how to get how to evolve a successful man, or how to evolve a successful country. So that is actually the meaning of a Atmanirbhar. And if those have gone through this phase of this hostel life, and I believe they will easily connect, and they will easily understand, and they will feel that how that Atmanirbhar means. So I think this is the best way I can give a best I can make you feel about Atmanirbhar mean, and how what is the actual meaning of it. There is no standard definition, but actually through this you can feel it. Now next go to the things that if you have taken this example as one of the best example, and if you think that this is a right example to understand the Atmanirbhar, then the Atmanirbhar has this following key elements to explain it. So what Atmanirbhar says, that it says that it's a self-reliant. You are self-reliant. You are not much dependent on others, and you are self-sufficient. That means what you are producing, it is meeting your need, your requirement, your daily requirements, and you are self-dependent, or you are independent. So it is more likely it is self-dependent compared to the independent. And also you have the necessary skill and ingenuity, that is called the intellectuality, to solve the local problems, or the problems comes to you. Also you have that power and the capacity to localize that solution, and have the chance to take it to the market, and offer in an affordable way. So these are the meaning of, or the components of an Atmanirbhar when you are going to explain it. And also it says that when you are fulfilling above qualities, also simultaneously you have to stay networked, you have to stay connected, and also you have to stay collaborative. You have to make lots of collaboration with others. So you will stay updated. Also you can exchange the information. Also you can borrow the technology. Also you can lend your skill set. So it is kind of a knowledge flow and information flow between the peers, and also within the whole network. So these are the kind of defining what is the Atmanirbhar means. So now comes to the second option, that is the second point, what is called startup of you. So discover startup of you. So the startup means, it is actually, we can define the startup means in two terms. One is called entrepreneurship quality, and the second is called innovative skill. So I believe, being a human being, I think we are the blessed creature of the creation of mother's nature, of nature. So why we are blessed? Because God has given us the sensing organization, like to hear, we can see, we can hear, we can eat, also we can enjoy every possible sense, and also we can use our sense to interpret, to analyze, to express ourselves, and most importantly the ability to rectify our course of action, and also the previous mistakes through by using our creativity, and also the problem solving ability. So this is the reason why human beings are the latest creation of God, and we are the blessed one, and God has sent to us in this earth to solve to the problems, and also to contribute the God's creation for a betterment. But many of us are indulged in utilizing our these qualities in a useless way, or to deteriorate, to bring the harm to our God's creation. So this actually, that is the why what we need some changes. We have to discover ourselves who we are. So that is called the startup of you. And if you will compare the human being with other creatures, actually they do not have this kind of choice. They just live and they eat, they live and they die and they reproduce. This is the only 4 steps they can do. And then what the sufferings we are going through, human beings are going through, the whole human generation is going through the knowledge about the self, and we have not realized our the true potential to bring this startup of you, a startup within us, that quality. And for this we don't need any money. To bring that change, we need only 2 things. One is the change at the attitude and change at the behavior. These 2 things only we need changes. And what is the attitude and behavioral changes we are expecting to discover that the startup with us? Then the first thing is that we have to have a mindset, and that we are the job creators. We are the best creation of the God to create the job, not the job seeking. So changing the mindset from job creation to job seeking is the far and foremost. And the second, the changes we are expecting is that we have to develop the requisite skill, and also we have to acquire the knowledge, and we have to tap our natural instinct and the ability to create the better outcomes. See, sometimes what happens that most of the parents, they just force their students or force their children that you have to do this one and you have to do that. No, actually it is not that. Whenever or the so far we have not discovered that what is our actually interest, where actually our passion lies, where our skill set lies. Actually, up to that point you cannot take the ownership, you cannot have that kind of a passion, you cannot bring that your fullest potential to deliver the task. So that first thing is that you have to understand your skill set, you have to acquire necessary knowledge, and also you have to understand actually where your interest and your ability lies. And third thing what we are expecting is that we have to treat the current context of change as a opportunity, and through that opportunity we have to find out that how we can solve that problem of today's development context. Every development challenge is a problem statement for us, and we have to try to find out the solution for that every development challenge we are going through, either at the society level or at the market level or at the industry level or at the global level or at the national level, whatever may be. So we have to find out a solution, and we have to develop, and you have to see that how that solution can be taken to the market at the best way, and putting all kind of best efforts. So just quoting a small, just quoting from the Muhammad Yunus, who is the Nobel Peace Laureate from in the year 2016. He is from Bangladesh, and what he said that every human beings are independent because God has given a special analytical and thinking tool which we call mind or the brain. So every human being has the brain, and they are independent, and they are born entrepreneurs and not a job seeker. So if we all become the entrepreneur, then there is no question of unemployment. So this is the quote by Muhammad Yunus. So what I will do now, I will play a very short video on this, and that video will enlighten you and how the human beings are the born entrepreneurs. It is just a 3 to 4 minutes video. So let me run that video for you, I hope, and please watch it very carefully. So the video starts. Thank you. Just watch it.
According to Muhammad Yunus, Nobel Peace Prize laureate and microfinance pioneer, all human beings are entrepreneurs. When we were in the caves, we were all self-employed, finding our food, feeding ourselves, inventing new rules of living. As civilization came, we suppressed it. We became labor, and we forgot that we're entrepreneurs. Our education system trains us to memorize facts stored in textbooks and regurgitate them on an exam. But as modern professionals, you can't acquire knowledge this way, because the knowledge you need is always changing. In the world of work, Every day is an exam day. Every day brings new challenges and decisions. To adapt to the challenges of professional life today, we need to rediscover our entrepreneurial instincts and use them to forge new sorts of careers. Reid Hoffman, founder of LinkedIn, drew patterns between the trajectories of highly successful professionals and highly successful startups in Silicon Valley. According to him, a working professional like you must consider yourself as a work in progress. Therefore, you must invest in yourself to acquire entrepreneurial and adaptive skill sets required for a global economy every single day. In today's world, 1 million people can do your job. Hence, it's important to ask yourself what sets you apart, and what are the unique skills or combination of skill sets that you have which let you stand out and flourish. If you don't have any, don't worry. Remember, you're always a work in progress. By weighing your current assets, including your soft assets, like knowledge, skills, network, etc., and hard assets, like cash and bank, you'll get an idea of where you stand against your competition. Identify the market realities on how much you're worth to earn in the current scenario. Finally, chart out your aspirations and values as to what you want to achieve. These three should be balanced at any point of time. Skills that don't earn money, but let you follow your aspirations, are no good in the long run. Similarly, being slave to a market that doesn't match your passions and likes isn't sustainable. Search and upgrade your skills in such a way that you're valued in the market and you follow your aspirations. You can also become competitive by changing the environment you play in. For example, some American basketball players who aren't good enough to play in the NBA play successfully in Europe. Planning can never achieve full certainty. Identify the assumptions in your plan and make plans to fill these gaps by giving priority to learning. The best way to learn is through actions and by constantly thinking 2 steps ahead. You should always have a set plan A, which you should be doing. If it isn't working out for you, or you discover a better plan, shift to plan B. Always have a backup plan Z to rely on if something goes seriously wrong and none of your plans work. This flexibility to adapt, along with your persistence, will help you surge up. It's people who control resources, opportunities, information, and the like. So building a network of relationships is key to unlocking professional growth. Consult and proactively collaborate with your allies, who are your closest professional relations, and at the same time, embrace your weaker ties, since they bring diversity into your network. All these friends will have friends, and friends of friends, which makes your network pretty strong, and you need to find ways to leverage this by asking for or giving introductions, and strengthening the relationship by sending articles, collaborating on projects, and staying in touch. Be in the move always, and embrace selective randomness through random ideas and collaborating with new combinations of people in your network. This way, you might find a breakout opportunity. The trajectories of remarkable careers are never slow and steady up. It is these breakout opportunities that lead to unusual rapid gains. Risk is part and parcel of life. Be proactively intelligent about risks. We are wired for evolutionary reasons to overestimate risk. If you can tolerate the worst case outcome, then be open to the risk and never confuse uncertainty with risk. There will always be unknowns, and it need not necessarily mean risk. Build resilience towards risk by introducing small risks into your day-to-day operations consistently. The ability to access information when you need it is the best way to deal with the challenges of today's world. And for your career, it is the network of your relationships that will help you grow. So start tapping your network, start investing in skills, start pursuing breakout opportunities, and start taking intelligent risks. Most of all, start forging your own differentiated career plans. For life is in permanent beta, and the trick is to never stop starting.
I hope you all have enjoyed the video. Hello? Anybody can say that is
Yes,
my
yes,
voice?
yes. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now comes to the what I have explained so far is just a summarized version, and it was a documentary version which actually explained in very lucidly that how you can discover that every human being is a born entrepreneur, and you have to just do the things and from that whole video, you can say that one thing is that knowledge is not static, knowledge is changeable, and second thing is that every human being should behave like that work in progress. There is nothing that you are saturated. At the age of 70 also you can still do lots of things, and you have to treat yourself that you are work in progress. So now comes to the webs of innovation. So see, in the last 300 years, whole world has seen 4 industrial revolutions, and every industrial revolution either preceded or leads to wave of innovations, because this innovation actually it helped in achieving that industrial revolution, and also is helped in progressing to the another wave of industrial revolution. So innovation is the key, and entrepreneurship is the factor or the tool which driving that innovation further, and one after one another industrial revolutions. So if just to take a snapshot of Indian startup innovation and startup ecosystem, if you will find that, if you just take that all startups and the founders of these Indian startups, then you will find that more than 70% of, or more than 75% of founders have the age group from 26 to 45. And also you will see that more than 75% of these founders have the education qualification of either postgraduate or engineering graduate, or also have a postgraduate in business administration. And if you see the student startup, the growth of student startups is growing with a 30% every year since 2016, after the launch of this Startup India and Stand Up India by our honorable Prime Minister. Also the AICT startup policy we have started in the year November 2016. And also if you see that proportion of female entrepreneurs, then you will see that there is the female entrepreneurs proportion is still very less. It is only 11%, but it was increased from 9% to 11% from 2015 to 17. But actually, if you will see the global comparison also it is around 19%. So India is in 11% and 19% is the global value. So in USA it is 19%. And similarly, in other countries also, in developed countries also, you will find around 18 to 19 or maximum 21%. That is the female entrepreneurs proportion. But good thing is that India has the biggest education system. We have more than 41,000 higher educational institutes, and more than 2.5 crores students are studying at any time. So we have the number, quantities with us. So just we have to think about that, how to streamline and how to strengthen our startup and innovation ecosystem in our every higher educational institutes, so that our students will get enough opportunity to think, to act, and to convert their ideas to startup or a business solution. So that's why Ministry of HRD Innovation Cell has was set up at AICT, and so far we have initiated many major programs. Just I'm highlighting few programs. One is called Smart India Hackathon. This is the we have started in 2017, and 17, 18, 19, 20. So this is 4th edition is going on, and now which is just started yesterday, and our honorable Prime Minister has announced and launched this Smart India Hackathon. And I think most of the institutes, most of the higher educational institutes, they know that Institutions Innovation Council, whereas Smart India Hackathon is focusing on triggering the creative tendency of the students, whereas the Institutions Innovation Council in higher educational institutes help in bringing a system or a framework where every department, every faculty, every students, they are coming together in a single platform of the Institutions Innovation Council, and they are working in a very coherent way, in a very synergic way, and trying to conduct a vibrant or trying to develop a vibrant startup and innovation ecosystem in that particular institutes. And another program is called Atal Ranking of Institutions on Innovation Achievement. This is the first time in I think we can say that in world's history, especially by the developing countries, where we have devised a framework, and that framework helps in objectively defining a innovation and startup ecosystem in an institute, and objectively also measuring these efforts by the institutes, and then ranking them into as per the values. And this helps giving a kind of a yardstick for institutes, for government, and for universities, that where they are lacking, where they have the strength, and how they will plan for next 5 years. So this is kind of a policy intervention, giving the best a kind of a yardstick or a measurement framework to measure this innovation and startup framework, startup efforts. And another one is called NISP, what is today we are going to discuss on National Innovation and Startup Policy. Actually, it was started in the year 2016 by AICT. It was called AICT Startup Policy. And but later, Ministry of HRD has asked us that not to restrict this startup policy of AICT for only for the technical education national institutes, and that's why we came up with the National Innovation Startup Policy in 2019, which is now catering to all technical and non-technical institutes, also universities, standalone institutes, and the affiliating bodies, affiliating institutes. And the fifth one is called international hackathons. Just we have last year we did one Singapore India hackathon, and just in next 3 to 4 months we have a plan for the hackathon with other countries, like with ASEAN countries, with SAARC countries, with I think Portugal. So there are so many, with Australia. So there are so many countries have already joined the hand, and they have shown interest to conduct this international hackathon. So our Ministry of HRD Innovation Cell is also working in this line to bringing our Indian minds to solve the global problems. So Smart Hackathon is solving the national problems, whereas the international hackathon is the platform where young minds from the both countries or the different countries, they will work to solve the global problems. So these are the few programs we have. Now comes to the National Innovation and Startup Policy 2019. So it was launched in 11th September 2019, and this policy intends to guide higher educational institutes to promote students and faculty driven innovation and startups. Because as I said that policy and police both are quite similar, because I will say that this policy is a document which gives the guideline, and through guideline we want to achieve something, and that is called disciplined result. And whereas the police is the system, it's a system through which they want to achieve the discipline and law and order situation in a particular state or a particular region or the country. So both are quite same if you are trying to correlate. So this NISP is instrumental in leveraging the potential of student problem solving and entrepreneurial mindset, and promoting a strong intra and inter-institutional partnership. So far you can observe that many institutes, they are working in a silos. So they have not much collaboration and not much connection with other institutes. But this policy will try to provide them the opportunity and the platforms where they can collaborate. And the IIC is one of the best example through which we are implementing this NISP too. So now comes to the major thrust areas of National Innovation Startup Policy. So this is around 25 pages document. This policy is there. I hope you have gone through, or most of you have already nominated the NISP coordinator. If you are the part of this IIC, if you are the part of this either UGC or AICT, because we have sent to all the institutes across India to nominate NISP implementation coordinator in your institute. And on 5th of August, we received more than 1,000 higher educational institutes. They have nominated as senior faculty, and on 5th of August we are going to conduct a training program for this nominated startups, and on that day we will conduct a very detailed session on NISP, that how to implement, how to plan, and also we will do a vision building exercise for the faculties. But last 2 months back we conducted a very detailed version of this NISP, and it is already there in the YouTube. You can go through that. So it is like around more than 3 hours. I think it is approximately 3 hours session, so you can go into detail. But today's time constraint, because of time constraint, I will only focus on the major points. So the whole NISP is divided into six components. The first component is that we have given adequate emphasis that every higher educational institute should strategize and have to bring innovation in the governance level to promote innovation and entrepreneurship. This is the first component of NISP, where we have detailed the how a higher educational institutes create innovation pipeline and pathways for entrepreneurs. So it is one of the subcomponent under this first component. Also, another subcomponent under the first component is called building the organizational capacity and human resource and incentives. This is very, very important, because so far institute itself will not develop right mindset, right human power, right a competent team, and also if institute will not include an incentive system for promoting this kind of innovation startup activities in the campus, then faculties will not going to take this kind of challenging task, because they are already overloaded with so many activities. So if you will give another task, they will always see it is it's a kind of overburden. So this innovation policy has also prescribing so many measures, how to create a financial and non-financial incentive mechanism, how to strengthen your organizational capacity, and also adequate competent human resource to be placed in the institute, so that whole system will feel empowered. And also it has one third component is called institute should focus on collaboration, co-creation, and business relationship, and also should engage in knowledge exchange activities, so that they will stay connected and stay updated with the not only at the national level, also at the international level, especially in the area of innovation and startup. The second component under this NISP says that it laid down the norms for faculty and the students driven innovation in the startups. So we have created we have prescribed certain measures, especially how to give incentives to the faculty and students. If any faculty or students want to develop any innovation, or they want to start a startup during their academic or during their teaching job or during their study, then these incentives will help them to pursue their entrepreneurship and innovation career without compromising the teaching, and also without compromising their study at the academic. Also, we set a norms for faculty startups, because generally what happen, if you will give the liberty for a faculty to start a startup, what will happen, they will start giving so many excuses, and they will start giving so many justifications that as per the policy we have given the liberty to a startup, so we are doing some business like doing some mom and pop shop, or we have started something which is not relevant to their core expertise. So we set certain norms for these faculty startups, so that this teaching quality should not be affected, and also they should not indulge in any such kind of activities or any commercial activities which is not falling into the area of expertise of the institute, also the expertise of that particular faculty. So no, definitely faculty can do the startups, but not beyond the expertise and the competency of that faculty and that department. So this is the kind of some certain norms and norms for faculty startup. And comes to the third component, it is called incubation and pre-incubation support system. We have laid down the guideline for that every higher educational institute at least should have the pre-incubation facility in their campus. And because incubation facility generally it is a capital intensive one, so first they have to set up a pre-incubation facility. If they have the incubation, then it is very good. But if they do not have the incubation, they have to plan that how they will set up the incubation facility in next 3 to 4 years or 2 to 3 years. So they have to start with pre-incubation, and slowly once they are feeling they are developing requisite skill and the competency to manage the pre-incubation efficiently, and also they have to get into the incubation sphere. Similarly, our fourth component under this NISP also delineates that IP ownership right among the faculty, among the institute, faculty and student should be clearly defined. In many occasions, we have noticed that the technology developed by the faculty in the lab with a fund given by the government is always developed by the students, but actually the ownership is taken by the faculty, and also they have never given the ownership to the institute, and not to the actual owner, that is student. And students are happy with the certificate that they are not bothering about the technology what they have developed, and they are just thinking about that if they will get a certificate of that they did this project, then they are happy, because their aim is to get into job. But actually when there is no ownership on the technology or the IP, then it is very, very difficult to take that innovation or then take the technology from the lab to market. And this is the actual situation, pathetic situation, where our Indian higher educational institutes are suffering. We have the technologies, but we are not filing, or even if you are filing, we are not taking much credit of that, and also we are not implementing, not taking to ground, because we know neither faculty has the ownership, neither institute has the ownership, nor the student have the ownership. So this is where actually this is a completely gray area, where the NISP has addressed the loopholes and also prescribed certain measures that how to overcome, how to streamline this aspect also. Also, as the fifth component, this NISP has given enough emphasis on how to bring lots of innovative interventions in the era of pedagogy and learning interventions, where teaching or educating through entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial education or innovation education can be included and can be part of regular curriculum in higher educational institutes. And these are the major 5 components. But we have also learned that without measuring, without having a proper evaluation mechanism, that how effectively these are getting implemented at the institute level, then there is no meaning of bringing this policy. That's why we have included a 6th component, that's a separate component, that we have to measure the entrepreneurial performance of the institute, also performance of the student, also the performance of the of a whole educational system as a whole. And we have set off key performance indicators at different level to measure the progress of implementation of this NISP at institute level. And already I mentioned that collaboration, co-creation and the business relationship at all the 3 verticals level. That's why it is across the verticals, which is very, very important. And this is the major thrust areas of NISP. And let me highlight certain features of this NISP policy. And the first one is that every institutes give a justification that why you are not promoting innovation startups. They always says that we have lack of money, we have lack of fund, and we have no reserve kind of things. They are always, and they said that no government is giving fund kind of. These are the general justifications or general excuses given by these institutes. That's why this NISP prescribes that every higher educational institute should made provision and should create innovation fund from to support these innovative projects and the startups coming from their institutes by allocating minimum 1% of the total institution's budget, annual budget, at the beginning of the year. So this is the first one of the breakthrough provision we made it in our this NISP. And also there is another provision is given, another guideline we prescribed in this NISP is that academic break, either a semester break or a year break for the students and also for the faculties, if they develop any kind of startup and they want to take it very seriously, so that they can take a break of 6 month or 1 year, and they can set up and they can streamline again, they can come back and they join the job or join the academic and join the course and complete their program. Similarly also, we have observed that many incubators, those that exist in this higher educational institutes, they always charge too much of equity, in terms of they always take more than 30%, 40% of the total ownership on the startups at the very early stage when they comes to this incubation unit. And what happens when in an incubation unit you take 30 to 40% of the ownership, then actually the problem starts there. You are actually creating a natural system to kill that startup, and this is the actually where incubation units are playing a very, rather than as a promoting role, they are creating a destruction role. That's why we said that an incubator cannot charge more than 9.5% of the total equity in a startups, those are coming for the incubation support. So maximum is the 9.5%, and it can start with 2% to 9.5%, depend on the type of service and type of facilities you are going to provide. And if you can charge on a rental basis, that is also fine, but you cannot charge equity more than 9.5%. So this is the upper cap for the incubators to charge on the equity on a startup or incubating startups. Similarly, on the ownership on IPR, so if any student or any faculty has not utilized institute's resource, like they have not utilized the institute's fund, or they have not utilized institute's lab for developing any technology, then in that case institute cannot force them to give the ownership on the technology developed by that student or faculty. So this is also very good provision we made in this NISP policy, so that unnecessarily undue advantage institute cannot take or faculty cannot take. And but if the technology during the process of development of the technology, adequate or substantial amount of fund and the resources of institute has been utilized, then definitely you cannot deprive that institute to take the ownership. It should be, and also the detailed mechanism is already there in that NISP policy. And similarly, another major highlight feature is that if incubator want to provide service in lieu of equity, then they can go for on rental basis, or even they can go for zero payment model, because actually we should not try to kill a innovation or startup at the early phase. So let's provide some kind of support at the beginning stage. Once they comes to certain level, after that you can charge the equity. And what the provision actually we made, that even though there is a upper cap of 9.5%, but an incubation unit cannot charge a student or a incubating startup to give that 9.5% equity on the first day itself. It is the 3-month time, cushioning time or 3-month buffering time should be given to both parties to understand each other's strength point, and let the startup or incubating startup will get the incubation support on payment basis, on rental basis. And after 3 months, once they will gain the confidence that by staying in this incubation unit they will get actually support, or they will get actually benefit, then only they will go for equity sharing mechanism. For the first 3 months, incubation unit cannot force them to give the equity on the day one itself. So this is another breakthrough provision we made in this NISP policy. Okay, I hope I'm connected.
Yes, you're
Okay. So actually this is the time actually I put myself, because I've decided that I will not take more than 45 minutes. So I have taken 45 minutes and I think it's exactly 50 minutes. So this is the end of my session, and I believe those are watching me, they got necessary informations. And if anybody want to know in detail about NISP, they can write in Google. Also in the Google page, also there is a YouTube video is also there on NISP. So they have to write complete name of National Innovation and Startup Policy. Then they will get that YouTube link also. That is more than 2.5, I think 3 hours duration, and it explains each and every clause with example. And that is actual video of mine only. So I've taken enough time explaining each and every bit of clause of the NISP, and I hope you will get lots of information from that. And if anybody from the listening side or the senior faculty NISP coordinator, then on 5th of August, again we are going to discuss in detail on this NISP detailed methodology, how to implement at the institute level. So this is the end of my session, and I'm just closing my stop screen.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. It's really amazing speech, and that is a very exhaustive. Lot of informations you have been given. I think it is a very important and very fruitful things are there. Now, at least I think we are just lagging behind time. If one or two question we can take, otherwise, Mr. Parth, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah.
At least we can ask, give one or two questions.
Okay, let me search upon some questions. While I'm searching upon some questions, I'd like to thank the audience once again. And if you want to ask questions, obviously we are taking questions right now, and you can type the questions in the chat box below. But once again, very informative talk by the speaker, and definitely the students part of it. Even though students are 2.5 crore of the population, they are definitely the future of our country, and we should be working more and more, and the direction which we are going forward, it's really great. It's really great. Bebu Datta asks for a feedback link, please. If there are any questions, you can comment down below in the Facebook live stream. Nicola asks, is there any age limit to avail this opportunity? Could you repeat that again? You were on mute.
Okay, so actually there is no age limits because for startup, as that video that you have watched, knowledge is dynamic, and every person till the last breath is work in progress. So no age limit.
Exactly. Second question, for startup, any fund available by government?
I will suggest don't rely on government fund. Once you will start getting government fund, then you will get used to, then finally you will end up with nowhere. So if you want to become a successful startup, look for money from the market, and either it is a angel fund or it is a VC fund, or it is through, when you will put 1 rupee, you will always think how to make it 1.5 rupee, but you will get 1 rupee from the government, you will survive so far that 1 rupee is with you.
Exactly.
But but there are so many government schemes are available at SSIP, in the government, Gujarat government itself, and also in the central government. We have the DBT, DST, MSME, and now through IIC, MHRD is also provide funding to the student startups. So there are so many opportunities. So you have the laptop, if you have the mobile phone, you have the internet, then whole world is with you.
Exactly. There's this saying, before
Yes,
entrepreneurs look
I
for
would like
investment.
to answer Sangeeta Aroraji's question. So
There.
definitely, see, a country like in India, actually, we are giving more emphasis at entrepreneurship education or the startup at the higher educational institute level, mostly at the UG and above. But countries like Denmark and Sweden and Norway, you will find that entrepreneurship was the part at the LKG and UKG level, right? So actually, it is required. So but actually the way of learning is different. You cannot teach a LKG student by the way we are the adults are learning, but definitely there is a different way. And but good thing is that in Gujarat, I think. Many institutes they've started teaching this entrepreneurship education in the school level. And good thing is that CBSE also started taking very seriously, under Ministry of HRD. We are also start working with CBSE. Then we are devising certain programs that how our school going children's, especially in the CBSE schools, that how that entrepreneurship and innovation can be given. And one example is that Atal Innovation Mission Tinkering Lab, the Niti Aayog Atal Innovation Mission Tinkering Lab, Niti Aayog, they've already set up more than 5,000 tinkering labs in different schools. So that is one of the best way. They are trying to foster the innovation and creativity potential of the student and school going children's.
So excellent information that we are getting. I think there is a lot of parts. If no other question is there, then we can move to the last stage of our webinar.
Sure. Let's say the question answer session is over, and
Yeah.
yeah, let's conclude the Q&A session. Let's move on to the vote of thanks and the wrapping up of the webinar.
Okay. So I request Dr. Monik Jani, the Honorable General Secretary of Vignan Gujari, kindly propose the vote of thanks for today's event.
Good evening to all. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks for today's event, National Webinar, Startup Talk, Startup, एक कदम आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर, which is jointly organized by industry, innovator, entrepreneur, facilitator, academia, IIEFA, a part of a Vignan Bharti, and it is one part is known as a Vignan Gurjari in Gujarat. The Indian Institute of Metal IIM Baroda chapter, Yuva Kaushal Bharat Foundation, and Madad Foundation India. I would like to express my gratitude to Sri Anil Pathamji, Additional Director General of Police, Gujarat, Indian Police Service IPS, Government of India, for accepting our invitation to be a chief guest and sparing his valuable time with us and enlightening about the role of startup in Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, and especially about the police and policy matter. Sir, thank you very much. Sir, we would like to have your support in the future too. I take this opportunity to extend our gratitude to Mr. Dipan Kumar Sahu, Assistant Innovator Director, MHRD Innovation Cell, AICTE, for enlightening the presentation on National Innovation and Startup Policy, NISP, for Higher Education Institute. It is a really excellent presentation on innovation and startup policy. I believe that all the participation who has attended this webinar are surely full of knowledge about the startup policy, and it will be great help for them to write a proposal as well as start their journey towards the entrepreneur. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We would like to have your support in the future too. I take this opportunity to thank all the participants from various academic institutes and university of various cities and the state of the India, because without you, this event would not be have been possible. I would like to thank the coordinator of all the event for making this seminar a great success. I would like to thank all the EC members of IIM Vadodara chapter, Vignan Bharati, Vignan Gurjari unit of Gujarat, Yuva Kausal Bharat Foundation, and Madad Foundation for their support and cooperation to host this event. I would like to thank all our social media friends for their support and spreading the information for our event to national level via Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, etc. I would convey my thanks to print and electronics media for the effort they are taking for cover entire the event. Thank you very much to the organizer Sunil Bhai Kahar, specially. Thank you.
Namaskar. So thank you very much. It's a great things that we have completed this very important task, and Deepan sir has excellent presentations related to innovation and startup, and I think it's a great platform for us to interact with him. So with this, I congratulate the entire team members who are working for, particularly Mr. Parth Bhalla, Mr. Keur Pandya, and Mr. Karan Sangaria. They are the coordinators for these events. The day and night they are working for all these events. So I must congratulate them also, and the entire teams of the all association who have worked with us. And I think this journey, this bonding will be continue forever for future events. Thank you all. Thank you once again, Deepan Sahu sir, for sharing this valuable time, almost about 2 hours. The events we have just we want to start within 1 hour, but for your enthusiasm and your expertise, I think it is very less for us, but still we think in future with different topic and different policy, we will definitely will take your help and enlighten us. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you one and all.